coming to Rome. Italy are the champions of Europe for the first time since 1968, while England's wait for a trophy will stretch to, at least 56 years by the time the next World Cup rolls around. Hello, I'm Adrian and welcome to my Avau's garden under the apple tree. Thanks for joining me, and let's talk about the final, man. England had what you could call an incredible start as they transitioned quickly from defense to attack, and they caught the Italians in disarray. From a corner kick, Trippier was released down the right, making use of his great delivery. He picked out Luke Shaw at the back post, and his finish was impeccable. Quick hop off of the pitch, and then he smashed it in off of the post. 1-0 England after 1 minute and 57 seconds. Unreal. That was the fastest goal in European Championship final history. The way that England got numbers forward was impressive as they transitioned incredibly quickly from defense to attack, something that Italy was really struggling with in the early exchanges of this match. Italy were slow to get numbers forward in the first 30 minutes. So many times Chiesa, Insigne, and Immobile would be isolated in the attack, the midfield failing to get forward to help them out, up against 5 or more English defenders, towering defenders at that. After half an hour, they started, pressing a little bit higher up the pitch. They stopped sitting so deep. This helps them out a lot, and they came into the match much more after that. But with England's 5 at the back, with Rice and Calvin Phillips ahead of them, Mount and Sterling tracking back to help, it was extremely difficult to break down this English side. Once they got that goal, it's not that they, sat back and played completely defensively the entire time, pretty close to, but they were a little more reluctant to put numbers forward as they did early in the match. I remember seeing Kane in England's own midfield. They were really bunkering down to ice out this Italian attack and plug up all areas of the pitch. No joy down the flanks, no joy through the midfield. Maybe things would have been different had they not got that early goal, but something tells me a little bit otherwise with the way that Southgate set them up. A massive credit to him, as he has been getting it right all tournament long. It's not always pretty, but he gets it right, and after 45 minutes, he did have it right. 1 shot for England, 1 goal. No real difficult saves for Pickford to deal with either. One thing that was striking in that first half was just how obvious a physical mismatch this final was at times, both in size and just, as they've shown all tournament long, the fitness levels and the physicality of this English side. The easy thing to point to would be how, physical the Premier League is, where most of England's players are playing. Trippier, he's a Simeone player. He's used to sprinting back and forth all match long on the flanks. Italy just looked, for lack of a better word, weak at times in comparison to the English. Oh god, there's a wasp. Speaking of, Immobile was a ghost once again, as my man Uncle Sharma pointed out, just as it's true in the Serie A. Perhaps it's true at the international level. He struggles away from the Stadio Olimpico. They were basically playing down a man, as he was not involved at all in this match, with any sort of promising attack coming through Chiesa, and to a far lesser extent, Insigne. Belotti is who I was calling for at the half, as he at least, he fights for the ball, he's more present. 10 minutes into the half, Immobile was brought off for Berardi. Bit of a different shape for Italy in the attack with Insigne central. Whew, it's hot out here, man. Early in the second half, it was Sterling in the box once again that drew some discussion as he touched the ball through toward Donnarumma and went down as Bonucci sort of touched him. No penalty given by Kuipers, and a great call, given Sterling had no chance of getting the ball, given he hit it way too far ahead of him, and Donnarumma was all over it. There was no chance that he was getting to it, whether he went down or not. And while Immobile was ineffectual in this match, I gotta say, Insigne was wasteful at times as well, hitting the ball into the stands, terrible passes. He's a frustrating player, and he's so brilliant when he's on and in the mood, if you will, but he's just not consistent, and not consistent enough for my liking. But Italy finally got their breakthrough from a corner kick in which Pickford did well to save from a Verratti header down low. That was a great save by him. But the rebound fell to Bonucci to tuck it in. Not the most stunning goal you'll see, but you could feel that it was coming. Italy were surging, getting more balls into the box, and in general just troubling England's back line more often. Chiesa was a constant threat, no doubt their best player going forward, and he certainly deserved a goal himself. But, he wouldn't get it, as he was unfortunately forced off with an injury. Italy were much more in control of this match in the second half as they dominated the ball and moved it around the English much more fluidly than they did in the first. But the latter half of the match devolved into a bit of a midfield battle. Nobody really finding much rhythm, nobody finding any joy going forward. It all slowed down. It was two teams that were basically playing to make it to extra time, it felt like. That foul from Chiellini on Saka right at the end, that's a yellow in my opinion. I'm sure someone would convince me that it was a red, but for me it was a yellow. Definitely not denial of a goal goal scoring opportunity and doesn't really tick any of the other boxes for a red card. Maybe excessive force, maybe. But hey, let me know in the comments. Let me know your rationale. Make sure that you cite the rules. Don't just say, if I hear someone say intent, I'm going to scream. Anyway, Belotti finally came on for Insigne, which made sense to me, while Grealish's introduction made a ton of sense as well. When doesn't it, really? The guy is one of the best attackers in the Premier League, so it should take no convincing to bring him on. As for opportunities, Italy probably had the best one in the first half of extra time, while England began really imposing themselves on this match in the second half of extra time. Jack Grealish was at the heart of a lot of that, constantly leaving Italian defenders in his wake, on their heels, making them, track back often. And again, the energy levels of England were a worry for Italy, while Southgate rolled the dice at the very end, bringing on Rashford and Sancho with 2 minutes remaining. I thought that was weird, taking off Walker and Henderson. But I mean, in the end, it went to penalties. Penalties to decide an entire tournament. Not my favorite thing, to be honest with you. But hey, that's the hand that we were dealt. Kane won the toss to choose which end, but Chiellini won the toss to choose who shoots first. And as we all know, statistically, the team that shoots first has a massive, massive advantage. And so it came to Saka. Why did it come to Saka? Why the 19-year-old? I feel for the kid. Of course, much credit to Donnarumma for the great save, and even more credit for the icy, no smile walk away after saving Saka's penalty. Maybe he didn't know that they'd won, or maybe he's just the iciest dude in the world. It was an unfortunate choice by Southgate to have a 19-year-old take the final penalty. Even more unfortunate for him, as the players he brought on to take penalties, Sancho and Rashford, also missed their penalties. Bad luck, maybe? Though I'm sure there are some who will absolutely torch him for those decisions. I feel like in these moments, you go with the more experienced, calmer heads. I personally would have had a guy like Henderson ahead of Saka in the penalty pecking order, but I'm just a YouTuber, and I'm sure that they did penalties often to determine who the best takers were in training. I think it's fair to say that Italy have absolutely deserved this. They have been the best team across the entirety of the tournament as a whole. Sure, they look shaky at times against Spain, but they ultimately overcame them, after previously overcoming the #1 team in the world according to FIFA, Belgium. 34 matches unbeaten now. Incredible stuff. 2 shootouts in a row, though. Those Italians, I mean, they had to suffer for it. The last team to beat Italy was actually Portugal, the defending champion. So make of that what you will. And as for England, I mean, they can absolutely be proud of themselves for their performance here. And like MAH said, Southgate has earned his chance to continue on with this team. Their defensive record was solid. They certainly have a lot of attacking firepower that they didn't use much of in this tournament. With some more time as a coach to continue to tweak tactics and perfect how he conducts his substitutions, little things like that, little things like choosing who to take penalties, England have an extremely bright future. Annoying aspects of certain sects of their media and fan base aside, they really do have a great squad and will only continue to grow into a true contender for, next World Cup, next Euro, etc. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you for sticking with me throughout this tournament. We've had some new faces in the comments, new people joining us, during live watch-alongs. However you found us, whether you're someone who has been here for years or just a little while, thank you. This was a challenge covering this tournament, but it was a rewarding one, and I had a ton of fun doing it. No regrets. I'm tired, but no regrets. It sounds like the channel is finished the way I'm speaking. That's not the case. More content will be coming your way. I will take some time off, but maybe I'll do, that next week, and maybe I'll do some live shows or something, more simplified content. We'll see. It's hard to stay away from you guys, though. It's hard to stop producing content. I have so much fun doing it. But anyways, thanks for watching. Commiserations to the English. Auguri to the Italians. I'm Adrian, and I'll see you soon. I'm going to go eat some burgers that my dad's barbecuing.